Give me some volume and go full screen.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country. Yeah. We used to think he was actually running the country, and now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all auto-pen.
Divorce rumors continue to escalate for the Obamas. Hopefully they can settle it like men. Terrible that you would applaud that.
Barack Obama did not just step away, he transformed himself into Hollywood royalty. He traded the White House podium for Netflix cameras inside a beachfront mansion, dropping books like hit singles and delivering wisdom from a throne built on contradictions. But Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld are not buying the performance. They cut straight through the glamour and polish, exposing a legacy they argue is more style than substance. It becomes a brutal takedown where charm collides with reality, and somehow, even after the collision, Barack Obama still walks away with another production deal.
Can I get a glass of water? I'm serious. I'm thirsty. Can I get a glass of water? This is not a prank. You never seen it?
No.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Oh,
it's amazing.
no.
He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this,
Problem is solved?
Bullshitting the world. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
It's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? What? They would never do that. They would have water ready for him. No, you bring water on stage with you.
Is Obama gay, needing attention over an old letter? What? I should read that again. Anyway, no, we'll just keep going. The New York Post obtained a redacted portion of a handwritten letter the former president sent to his then college girlfriend, Alex McNear. Alex, eh? Back in 1982. He talked about his, quote, androgynous mind and wrote, and I'm quoting Obama here, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination.
Barack Obama stormed into history armed with a pen, a teleprompter, and the confidence of a man convinced hope alone could run a country. For 8 years his speeches sounded profound, yet often landed like motivational posters hanging in a corporate hallway. His presidency felt like a polished TED Talk guarded by the Secret Service, smooth, controlled, and endlessly inspirational, yet critics argue the measurable results often felt razor-thin behind the soaring language and carefully crafted phrases. Applause still echoed as if something revolutionary had taken place.
Michelle Obama surprised fans on our new podcast by saying her pet peeve about her husband is that he's chronically late. For example, we're still waiting on him to admit he's from Kenya. And as for Barack's pet peeve about Michelle, he's mad that she keeps leaving the toilet seat up. When she cleans it. When she cleans.
If you are enjoying this takedown so far, please hit that subscribe button because it helps more than you know. Joe Rogan circles the conversation like a shark, catching the scent of blood, slicing through nostalgia with the strange, fearless logic that defines his voice. If you have ever imagined arm wrestling a bear on mushrooms while debating quantum physics inside a sauna, you have basically stepped into one of his podcast conversations. He studies the legacy of Barack Obama, and instead of seeing a historic statesman, he sees a charismatic performer who walked out of politics and directly into a Netflix contract. From the very beginning, Joe Rogan believed the clarity people celebrated was actually political, interpretive dance, endless movement, dramatic gestures, and very little concrete meaning.
He was roasting Trump in the audience, and you could see Trump in his head going, oh, okay, I'm going to run now. Like, that might have been the thing that got him to run.
No one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac?
That one moment where Obama was talking to him might be the reason why Trump was like, I'll show you.
Then Greg Gutfeld steps forward wearing the familiar smirk that silently announces, "Sit back and watch this entire narrative collapse under sarcasm and caffeine." According to Greg Gutfeld, Barack Obama practically handed critics the ammunition themselves. Here was a president awarded a Nobel Peace Prize before even settling into the Oval Office, and then years later authorizing drone strikes across the Middle East while celebrity culture crowned him. Like royalty, it felt to critics like watching a self-proclaimed pacifist buckle a seatbelt, then climb into the octagon swinging a steel chair while a chorus of adoring reporters cheered from ringside.
President number 44 wants to help the left censor more. Former President Obama, if that's his real name, is launching a campaign to stop the spread of disinformation, which he called a real challenge for our democracy. And also for his former Veep, who's challenged by questions like, "What's my name?" and "Why am I nude in the Rose Garden?"
Joe Rogan approaches foreign policy like a pit bull locking onto a pair of expensive Italian loafers, refusing to let go. He is not simply analyzing diplomacy, he is calling it out like a referee inside a chaotic fight cage watching a fighter crumble under relentless airstrikes. When Joe Rogan looks at Barack Obama's famous red line moment in Syria, he sees what a survivalist sees in a broken compass, something useless yet still capable of leading people into danger. The warning aimed at Bashar al-Assad carried the tone of a school principal scolding a student for cutting the lunch line, and according to critics, the dictator never even blinked.
Because Obama said he was a jacket.
The young lady seems like a perfectly nice person. She's getting her award. What's he doing up there? He do that? He's a jack.
It's like, oh, really? Well, you.
It was about the Taylor Swift thing.
Now, all this stuff.
That guy's a jacket. It wasn't even that harsh of an incident. He said it privately, and I think somebody heard it. I don't think he said it to be public.
I'm assuming all this stuff. Where's the pool? Come on, guys. Cut the president some slack.
Oh, here it is.
Seems like a perfectly nice person. She's getting her award.
Why would he do that?
He's a jack. No.
Greg Gutfeld then tears into the economy with sarcasm sharp enough to carve through the driest Thanksgiving turkey, dragging the infamous shovel-ready jobs promise into the spotlight and turning it into a Broadway-sized comedy sketch. Shovel-ready became a symbol of promises wrapped in poetic language. Critics joked it was like ordering a steak and receiving a scented candle. Instead, the economic recovery staggered out of the 2008 financial wreckage hung over on campaign slogans. But if success meant repeating recovery summer without cracking a smile, then Barack Obama delivered a masterclass. Joe Rogan laughs at the image of Barack Obama mingling with Wall Street while presenting himself as the savior of Main Street, appearing at Goldman Sachs events like a roadie who lost his guitar but kept trying to headline the concert. Critics argue the banks were rescued, homeowners struggled, and then the speech concluded with a triumphant tone as if the country had just been taught how to swim after nearly drowning. Greg Gutfeld then turns his sarcasm toward healthcare, presenting Obamacare as the grand jewel sold to the public as a miracle solution, yet critics say it arrived like a bureaucratic labyrinth, promising universal relief but delivering a maze reminiscent of a DMV adventure. The website launch became legendary for all the wrong reasons, making slow dial-up internet look futuristic, while Barack Obama continued smiling calmly like a wedding DJ, unaware that the speakers were already on fire.
Let's admit it, America. We miss Barack Obama.
Juan does.
There he is. In a recent speech, he said he had no real scandals in his White House, a jab at Trump.
We didn't have a scandal that embarrassed us. I know that seems like a low bar. Generally speaking, you didn't hear about a lot of drama inside our White House.
No drama. So to quote the TSA officer whose dog just sniffed my carry-on, let's unpack this. So why didn't you hear much about O's White House? Well, who was brave enough to look? There was never a cozier relationship between a president and the media.
Joe Rogan dives headfirst into cultural politics, arguing that under Barack Obama the nation did not simply drift into identity politics, it cannonballed into a pool of hashtags, outrage, and endless social labels. The man who campaigned on unity, critics say, presided over an era where Americans felt divided into more categories than snacks inside a health food store aisle. Greg Gutfeld mocks the idea that appreciating Barack Obama brilliance requires sitting through long speeches filled with glossy language while struggling to stay awake. Joe Rogan then shifts toward the surveillance state, describing it as a massive data-hungry machine that expanded dramatically during those years. The NSA, according to critics, was not merely hunting terrorists but collecting staggering amounts of information, creating what some observers described as a digital panopticon. The candidate who promised transparency ended up overseeing an intelligence Structure so powerful it could practically track grandma's banana bread recipe, and still applause echoed as though freedom itself had been delivered.
Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy. Boy.
Really? Did you have a high opinion of him before?
I did. Yeah, I did, just as an intelligent person. Right. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump, the thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist.
Who said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally.
Which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017.
Yeah.
I think it worked back then. I don't think it works anymore.
Finally, Greg Gutfeld grabs the brush of legacy and splashes sarcasm across the portrait like Jackson Pollock painting the walls of the White House. He ridicules the Iran nuclear agreement, portraying it as a risky geopolitical gamble, handing billions to a regime that openly shouted death to America while diplomats smiled for cameras. Greg Gutfeld imagines Barack Obama shaking hands with the Ayatollah, blindfolded, pen in hand, while advisors scramble behind the curtain following entirely different scripts. Then the conversation shifts to immigration, where critics highlight the paradox of a president who delivered speeches filled with compassion yet also oversaw record deportations. Joe Rogan imagines Barack Obama standing proudly before the Statue of Liberty, speaking about hope and opportunity before a trapdoor quietly opens beneath thousands of dreamers. According to critics, the promise often felt less like sanctuary and more like smoke, mirrors, and a carefully crafted press release disguised as a solution.